welcome back to another episode of the coG. And today we are exploring another episode with another amazing guest and exploring just faith, the journey that God has us on, and how we can do better and learn from other people's experiences, as well as just to learn that every journey is not perfect. And here today we have Duquesa Dean, life coach, trainer, inspirational woman here, going to share with us her journey and what she's all about. And so we're just going to start off with a quick prayer and then get into everything that she has to teach us and give us knowledge on. So, dear Heavenly Father, we come before you today to just thank you for another amazing guest to share their perspective on faith and that journey that you want us to go through as children of God, as a community, to be there for one another, and to truly learn from each aspect and perspective of who you've blessed us to learn from. Lord God, we pray that we just take everything, all of the knowledge, all of the wisdom that she has to bring today, and apply it to ourselves and see what can we do differently to make our life closer and closer to being a child of God that you will continuously love and be there for. Amen. So, tell us about yourself and your business and coaching, everything that we need to know about you.
That's going to be a lot of information. First, let me just thank you for the opportunity to be here with you, to have this conversation, to get to meet your guest, to interact with your guest, and to be used just as you are by a master that has designed both of us. I'm grateful for this opportunity. Who am I? Power-packed question. I help women evolve into the women that they were born to be and to essentially step into the lives that they've been created for. I am a certified public speaker. I am a certified corporate trainer. I am a self-development coach. I'm an author. I'm a mom of 2 amazing adult children. I'm a grandmother of 1 sweet little Nana Pie. But more importantly, I think that I have been crafted and, I've gone through a lot of fiery experiences to refine me into the woman that I am today, which has helped me to step into purpose, which is really about helping women understand that there is a light at the end of the dark tunnel.
Oh, wow. Oh my gosh, that was an amazing response. We love the Nana part. Love grandmothers. I have not had the luxury to have one, but they look great. You look great. Sounds like you're great. And just that impact that you're doing in women's lives just sounds absolutely amazing. And just I noticed the word you use, refinement. Can you speak more about that process of refinement?
Absolutely. Well, refining is going through hard situations and building your character. Many times we go through hard situations and we neglect to take the power from those situations because we don't grab the lessons and use the lessons from those circumstances to help us make better decisions or different decisions that take us in a different direction toward what our destiny is. We get stuck oftentimes in this rut, and we make the same decisions over and over and over, which could be equated to insanity. So we stay in pain a lot longer than we have to. Refinement is about taking the lesson from every experience, good, the bad, the ugly, but taking those lessons, looking at those lessons and saying, what can I learn from this? And how can I apply this to my life? How can I become a better version of me? How can I now use this to become more in alignment with what my divine purpose is? This experience is not random because we know that our lives aren't random. So what am I supposed to do? And it takes courage to be refined. It's easy to go through those experiences that could be designed to break us and to sit in victimhood and see all that's happening to us. That's the easy way to go through life. Oh, woe is me, this is happening to me. A more courageous way of embracing life, though, is looking at those experiences and saying, how can I use this What can I do with the lessons that I've learned to make my life better and to even break generational curses, to be the first in my family to achieve something different, to change the lineage and the direction, right? What can I do with this? And so refinement is a hard process, but once you get through to the other side of that, you're able to step into exactly what you were purposed to do and use those lessons to guide other people through the exact same process. So those experiences are never for nothing.
Let me just tell you, I was listening and I was just like, I wonder if that's me right now. Cause like, when like you're talking about like going through all these things to get to your divine purpose. And I know a lot of people see struggles as not that. Like they see struggles as current based, like, oh my gosh, I'm going through this right now. How am I going to make it through? What is my future going to look like? Instead of looking at it, like you said, in a courageous light and saying, well, if I get through this now, I can make a better future for me and whoever walks into my life and be able to provide that as a resource, just like you are today, which is absolutely amazing. So that leads us into our next question, which is, what is it like to be a coach and how is that business, working with your faith? How do you incorporate your faith into your coaching business? Or even with as being an author, how do you incorporate faith in that?
So do you want the diplomatic answer or do you want the truth?
I want the truth. I want, like, the listeners want the truth.
Janika, I will tell you that there have been many times along this journey that I've thrown the coaching hat in the garbage. I took it off and I threw it away because coaching is a special calling for the person that's genuinely called to serve as a coach. That person has a special calling because coaching is about seeing where people are, seeing where they want to go, and helping to guide them to that place and to continue to help them be self-motivated to take those actions. Like a good coach is always trying to wean their client off. So it's designed to be a temporary situation to help you get through or get over or go further. It's not permanency. And there have been times when I have been so frustrated at the potential that my clients have and their fear of making a different decision or taking a different action that's keeping them shackled to the past. And it's not until they're actually ready to move past that fear that they're able to become unshackled. And that happens at their pace, not at my pace. So as a coach, it's also a very rewarding experience to see women come alive, to see the light bulbs come on as they begin to recognize that they do have more power, they can own that power, that they can make the choices that they want to make and not be stifled by what society dictates or what their friends or family members dictate, but to see them embrace the courage to really stand up in the trueness of who they are and do that crazy thing that they've been called to do. That is also a rewarding experience. But coaching can also be emotionally draining for someone that is an empath, and that's what I am. I actually sense and feel pain. So as a coach, before you can even tell me that there is a painful experience that you're coming with, I can already sense and feel it. So there are times when I have to do a lot of rejuvenation. I sit in silence, I have to release it, I have to let it go. And so there are times along this journey when I'm like, God, are you sure that this is what you want me to do? Because it takes a lot out of an individual to invest in somebody else to bring them through, if that makes, if that's clear.
That's absolutely clear. So my question is the big question that I usually ask like entrepreneurs is, do you see this business as like a business or is it more of a mission?
It is a movement for me. It's business is the plus. side of it, right? Because I do get to benefit from paid clients, individual coaching clients, group coaching clients, products and services. That's the gravy. But it's a movement. And I want to explain this movement right, because my belief, this is what my belief is. I believe in the traditional aspects of what a woman has or what a woman should do. And what I mean by that is I don't want to be liberated. I don't want to take on the role of a man. I don't want to be responsible for the head of my home. I don't want to be responsible for every decision. I want to be a kept woman, but I also want to be that Proverbs 31 woman in my kept state. I want to be the kind of woman that, and this is why I say it's a movement, because this is what I encourage women to become. So go and read Proverbs 31, and you will look and see that even though she was a kept woman, she was a businesswoman. She managed her house. She managed her servants, right? She managed her husband. She came back with great returns on her investments. So we don't necessarily have to step outside of the gender of female to accomplish success in our lives and to live this purpose, or to be divinely into whatever. We can still be that gender woman, but at the same time, be that traditional woman who is being, who is following the guidelines for who and what a woman should become.
Well, a lot of people have a controversial take on that, but luckily I am not one of those people because I honestly, Catherine Gomez, we had a previous podcast episode talking about like women in society today and like the expectations that are, I guess, put on us, that we should feel like we should want to be liberated, or even having the conversation of, modern day feminism and what that entails. And honestly, I am a feminist in, like you said, the way of, I do want to make money. I don't want to be like so traditional that I don't make money, or I just stay in the house and, do it like people stereotypically believe that a traditional woman would do. But one of my biggest goals, and I tell my dad this every day, I want to be a stay-at-home mom. And I just think that it's one of the biggest and like the greatest jobs that a person can have. And society is telling me different. It's always going to be telling me different. It's going to be telling me that I should be out there getting my own money, having my own career, and I should be providing for myself. I shouldn't have to depend on no man for nothing, this, that, and the next, or whatever. First of all, regardless, I don't depend on no man. I depend on God. That's first and foremost. Second of all, is the fact that I don't care that much for a career. I think that careers come and go, but there's a certain, like, even with the podcast, this is an avenue in which I can reach people and spread God's word. And so if, like, some people might not see that as a career, but that isn't a career in itself, where I can do this and both be a stay-at-home mom, take care of kids, and do whatever. But, obviously, if you have like parents like mine, they're going to be like, oh, you got to go and get for yourself and make sure everything's good. And that's fine and dandy. But I think there's something about like that just submissive feminine power that I just don't ever want to let go.
I don't know.
I never
blame you at all. And the thing is that being a stay-at-home mom doesn't mean that you can't earn your own cheese.
Exactly.
Right? It doesn't limit you. It gives you flexibility to put your focus where it's most important. And I believe that we have the challenges that we do in our society and in our world today because of the breakdown in the traditional family home. Because as women and as career women, and I've been guilty of this, having to leave the house and spend 13 and 14 hours on a job, and you don't have time to do homework, to take care of your kids, to give them their nightly bath, put them to bed, to sit down and have breakfast with them in the morning. You're basically just like ships crossing because you're running out and you have hired help to help with some of those tasks. And so the most important aspects of the person that grounds the family, that builds the family, that nurtures the family is missing. And she's out there hustling, she's out there working, she's out there getting a career, she's out there in liberation, because society has said that whatever men do, women should be able to do. I believe that we should have equal rights in the world. I just believe that we are designed for different things.
Yeah. Or even like equal, I mean, and even on the equal rights piece, because I believe that yes, equal rights, great. But does that mean that like my door won't be getting opened? Because I love that. No, but if you think about it, equal rights basically are saying, because we don't open, or we've never opened the door for men. We haven't, made sure that the guy wasn't stepping in the puddle, or we aren't all too happy about paying for the meal when the guy is usually known as chivalrous because he pays for the meal. So equal rights means that's equality on both ends. And so when you think about it, even when pushing it to like toxic masculinity, are we still expecting certain things from a man despite having equal rights? And so it's a little weird that we want equal rights, just for women, but men with the pressure of masculinity, men with the pressure of having to provide, it's still not equal.
Correct.
And so it's a lot of nuance, obviously, in the situation, but at the same time, the reason why I do prefer traditional is because I benefit more, in my opinion. And I mean, and also I also feel like, mothers, single mothers who are out there doing their utmost best, they deserve the most respect because, it's super hard. Not only did you have to birth this human being, but you're in it by yourself. And I feel like chivalry, not that it makes up for it, it was given the little bonuses for the things that men can't do and that women like had to do back then.
Yeah.
So definitely a big topic. And it's crazy how much, nuance comes with having these discussions, but knowing that we have women like you out there empowering women to get their careers going is just a blessing in itself. And so leads me into the next question, because like I said, we always get off into like this other topic.
I know, right?
And so what do you think, and this might be piggybacking off of the previous one, but what is your end goal? Like, what is your end purpose with this movement?
My end purpose is truly to just let God use me to be an inspiration and a motivation, like a lighthouse for other women to do exactly what they've been called to do. So if just one person reads my book, if just one person attends a seminar, if just one person has coaching, and as a result of that, they awaken to their true desires, they become unshackled from the fears of what other people will think, if they recognize that their broken experiences are actually golden nuggets and do something with them, it would be worth it. So at the end of the day, it is my utmost prayer desire, it is my heartfelt and most genuine desire to always have a heart for God and to show a genuine love and care for other women, and to let them know that it's really okay to be who you are. It's really okay to connect to the source that's powering you. It's okay to look stupid in pursuit of your dreams and your goals. It's okay to be different from everyone else. And so the end result is that God will be glorified in every single life that I touch, every single life. So it's not so much about me. It's using my experiences, but it's about showing how through those experiences, God guided my path to a place where I can be a lighthouse for other women.
Oh, wow. That was so impactful, so purposeful. And It's just amazing to see that, there's always that question when it comes to being a Christian business owner or a Christian influencer. And it's like, what are you doing this for? Like, what is the purpose? And, people always say, well, they just be on the surface level. And there are some people that do it just to get to that target audience. But just seeing the process and seeing that, the numbers don't matter to you. Like, it's just whoever I can impact and that God can use me to get to them through. And that's it. Is absolutely amazing. And it shows that you truly, truly love the journey. And it also shows to those listening out there, the fact is that whatever you do that is going to help someone get closer to God, God is going to love and appreciate you for spreading his word, even if it's to one person, two people, 1.5 person, maybe. I mean, if you have to practice in the mirror and walk up to yourself and just be like, hey, I love you, kindness. Yeah. That's all that matters. You don't have to be a coach. You don't have to be a podcast person. You don't have to be a social media influencer, because all of these things are going to be weighted the same when you get in contact. And he says, what have you done for those that needed it? And you'll be able to say, well, Jesus, I've done this, this, and this, despite, being imperfect, you still tried to help someone else. And
the thing about that, Janika, is that when we think about the parable of the talents and how the talents were distributed, we usually equate that to money. They invest in their money, someone buried the talent, but that talent doesn't necessarily have to be monetary. That talent could be your gift. That talent could be your purpose. And how are you building and giving a return or getting a return on that gift that God has given you? Because he didn't give it to you just to benefit you. So that return could be touching another life, sparking another life, sparking a bunch of other people who are now touching other people. So our gifts and our talents are not meant for us. They're not meant to be hidden away. They're meant to be, shown so that other people can benefit from them.
That's powerful. That is powerful. So let us know, what does your coaching or even writing process look like? I know you haven't talked much about the book, so maybe the writing process and just, how that looks, but what does that look like? What does a coaching session look like for you?
Well, let me tell you about the book first.
Okay.
I was sleeping in my bed, having the best sleep ever. Had this dream where I was supposed to write this book. Mm-hmm. And I kept having this dream, write this book, share your experience, let everybody see what you've learned, give them the tips and tools. And I'm like, bro, are you serious? You asking me to write the intimate details of my life in a book for other people to see? I was like, no, sir, that's not going to happen. Boy, for months I couldn't sleep. Every night I go to bed, I'd be nagged, I'd get up, can't sleep. And then one day I got up and I said, you know what? It seems like if I am going to ever get a good night's sleep, I need to write this book. So I wrote this book, and the first book I wrote is called Chase Your Dreams. And I wrote this book in one day. It's really a short book, 6 chapters. And I said, good, I wrote this book, right? One complete year of no sleep later, I said to myself, I suggest you write this book, right? So I got up. And I said, okay, I'm going to be obedient. What do you want me to say? What do you want me to share? And for a period of about 6 weeks, when I go to sleep, I would get dreams about which experiences I needed to touch in this book. And I would get up through the night, write them down, fill them out the next day. And so for 6 weeks, I went through this process of, in my dreams, there would be an experience that I would visualize that I had, and there would be the lesson that I took from it. And I'd get up out of my sleep and write it down. And then finally, I just put the first book together. Oh, I moved the books, and it's called Bruised But Not Broken. It's a 21-day journey, and it really is a book. I think I have it right here. It's really, what's on here? A book about This one is a 21-day journey to overcoming challenges and limitations to achieve your goals. So this was actually the second book that I wrote. And that was the process. There was no structured process. After I wrote it, I got the book edited by the Puch Publications here in the Bahamas, and I published. And then I wrote a book every year since. So this one here, Bruised but Not Broken. And I followed that one up. My favorite, I know I'm going off camera, but I want to show you my favorite book. No, this isn't it. My favorite book is actually Sister Stand Tall and Soar. This one here. This is my favorite. Sister Stand Up Again. And this is a woman's guide for reclaiming her power. This is a guide that you can use to recognize the lessons. Right in this book, we talk about accepting responsibility for your life, the power of self-love. So after I wrote the second book, it just attached to me. This is the latest one, The Evolving Woman. So yeah, it wasn't no structured process. The first one was easy. The second one was easier. I just recognized that you write. My way is very unstructured. I just write subtopics. I write about those subtopics, and then I arrange them in a flow and get it edited and get it published.
That is so amazing. Let me just tell you, I wrote books in high school, and I should have been making friends, but I spent almost the entirety after school just writing books, and I still have those books like literally over there in the corner somewhere. And I've never, like, my dad got on my nerves about publishing, and you can be a young publisher if you want to. This will be such a good opportunity. I was just like, nobody's gonna read these books. I'm gonna just keep them where they are. And then in college, I wrote a poetry book, still catching dust as well. And so let me just tell you, it is absolutely amazing that you went out there and got those published, because I can say it's about 6 in total catching dust. I think it's just like a hobby. I don't think it was meant to go anywhere special. Because Lord knows I went back and read some of those, and I was just like, what was I writing in high school? Like, what was even going through my head at the time? It's very hilarious. But continue about your coaching process.
Awesome. I hope you do something with those books, though, if it's meant to be.
I hope so.
So for me, for coaching, I usually do a 30-minute free consultation to find out if the client is a right fit. There are, really, believe it or not, some clients who aren't coachable. I can take people's money, right? I really can, but that's not my desire. To take your money and you not be coachable. So I have my 30-minute consultation. We talk about what's most important to you, what's going on with you, and how I can help you, because you need to know how you want to be helped, right? Because the job of a coach is to guide you through your process. And so that's what I do. I do an intake, we discuss, and then we arrange whether that would be weekly or twice or every 2 weeks, but at minimum twice a month for an hour for individual coaching. But I really love group coaching. So I have group coaching programs. One program, Sister Stand Tall and Soar, is really designed to help women learn how to accept responsibility for their own lives, how they showed up in their lives, how they can move forward, to go into themselves, to go into the heart of who they are and see how their experiences shape them, to see how their pain is still causing them to make decisions that are not in their best interest. And so that's like a 6-month coaching course. I love group coaching. So the process for that is you join the program. We get together twice a month virtually in a group setting with other women. They share their experiences. I do the teaching. They have homework. We have a very active Facebook group where you post your homework and you interact with other people. But the goal of the coaching is to show, the group coaching is so that women can see they're not alone. They have a safe space and that they're guided through a very structured process of getting from where they are to where they want to be.
Oh, that's awesome. So how does, I don't know, what is like that rejection process? Because like that's just like curious to me, because you know, when you go to a coach, you're expecting, yeah, they're about to accept me, they're about to coach me to the best of their abilities, I'm about to be successful after this. And then you get this email and you're like, I'm sorry, but you're uncoachable. I cannot.
No, you can't say that. No, you can't say that. And it's actually not an email. It's a conversation.
Oh.
Yeah. So at the end of that consultation, it's really about what action you've already taken. That consultation assesses attitudes toward the future as well. And if for some reason that person is not a good fit, I usually say that it's not a good fit. Like what I offer may not be best for you. And I really don't want to take your money and you not have results. And most people respect that, even though it's not happened often. When it did happen, people respected that I didn't want to just take that money. And, you know, in that conversation is also about, you know, when you get to a different stage, when you're really ready to take action, let's come back together. And perhaps that would be the opportunity then.
Oh, so it's not really a rejection. It's like a postpone.
Yeah, let's go with a postpone.
It's a postponed until, because, you know, I get that, because a lot of people don't understand that you have to put the work in first in order for someone to multiply it or to help you multiply it. I've never been in coaching. I probably do need some, but I've been in therapy and I assume that it's close. Maybe.
Similar, yes.
Okay. So I definitely get it. You have to definitely be a partner, not even a partner, but a fully invested in your own future, and not expect someone or to pay somebody to form your business or your career or your intentions. So I completely understand that. So kind of went into earlier how you defined a success, because you was talking about like your impact on one person. So I'm going to jump straight into, what is your daily routine look like? And, you know, this could be like during busy season with conferences and your summits coming up, or this could just be like on your regular day, either or.
Well, summit's coming up and it's crazy. During this type of time, my brain just has a difficult time resting, because there's so many moving parts that even when it's time for bed, I have to kind of coach myself to come down and to let it go. And so my day could start early with a bunch of different tasks, a bunch of different follow-ups for summit season. If it's just corporate coaching, because I do corporate coaching as well, that means preparing to go to my client, printing out my booklets, reviewing my materials. So, you know, depends on the season, the days are different. And then there are some days where I schedule to do nothing. It doesn't really happen, but I do schedule in nothing. And nothing could be watering my plants in the garden, sitting outside, or hanging out with Nana or Love. So my days are just different depending on what's happening. My work hours usually are between 10 and 6. It could go, I've been going a little later. My husband did say the other day that I don't have a cutoff time. It's summit because I have this summit coming up. But that's not the norm. The norm is that there is a cutoff time, and I would rejuvenate after that.
Awesome sauce. So tell us a little bit more about this summit.
So this summit, I'm really excited about this summit because it is a 4-day summit. It is April 25th to the 28th, and we have 15 expert speakers for this summit. We're talking about the aspects of a woman's life that really matter to her. So day one is about how to live a happy and successful life. We're talking about living in purpose. We're talking about pursuing your dreams regardless of your age. We're talking about how to define your success. Day two is about the evolving woman, optimizing health and wellness, how to fuel your body, how to get in movement. mental health and anxiety. Day 3 is about the career woman, the evolving woman winning at work. So we're going to be giving tips and tools on how to advance your career, how to build your confidence, how to build your career progression path. And day 4 is about relationships, how to have happy and successful marriages, how to have a happy single life, how to guide people to treat you with care. So it's about these aspects of a woman's life that are really important. So that's what the summit is all about. We have regular registration, and of course we have VIP. VIP is you get to spend an amazing half day with me at a villa in the Bahamas on the beach where we are crafting your future.
The villa sounds very brunch vibe.
I'm super excited about the summit because women will get the opportunity to walk away understanding how to build meaningful relationships and how to become well, how to design your life, because we can't live by design, and how to advance in their professional lives in alignment with their true values.
So my question is, and I know this is mainly for the Bahamian population, and so my question for you is, how do you think that is going to be taken within our culture? And just speaking from a Bahamian woman myself, I have seen, I was trying to how to phrase this, but I have seen so many toxic relationships, and obviously it's all over the world, but how do you get women to acknowledge and know that, first of all, you shouldn't be loving anybody who doesn't love you like he loves the church, as well as you should understand your self-worth and and fully understand how you should be treated. How do you, I don't know, ingrain that or get them to understand the importance?
Well, first, let me just share that this is actually a global summit. We have speakers from all over the world. We have the Caribbean, we have the US. So we have speakers that come out of the Bahamas. And so the audience is going to be varied. But for Bahamian women, I think women generally, it doesn't matter where they are, some of us have the same mindsets, beliefs. We've been taught the same things about our roles and what we should accept. And when I was growing up, my grandmother used to tell me all the time that I was beautiful and I could catch any man that I wanted to, as if that was the end goal, right? And I don't know if that's what women are teaching their daughters now. But also, my mom was one of those women who wanted me to have a traditional job so that I have a steady paycheck coming in. And those days are gone for me. I held on way too long to a traditional job just to make my mom happy. And then, of course, there are women like me who have had traumatic experiences, who have had broken relationships, who have recovering from domestic abuse and violence, who don't feel that they are lovable, and so they remain in relationships that are toxic. And then, of course, there is the person that's gone past that and is recovering, maybe in a relationship with someone and trying to make that relationship work. And I will tell you that, and I'm going to be straight up and honest with you, there have been times when my loyalty has kept me in situations that I needed to walk away from a long time ago. But because I am a loyal person, and I don't want to fail, I made decisions to stay in those relationships and be unhappy. So as it relates to reconditioning, I can only say that we provide tools and resources to help you to see that what you're dealing with is either right or wrong for you. But at the end of the day, you have to use those resources to make the decision for what's best for you, whether that's a toxic job, whether that's a toxic relationship, whether that's a toxic family situation, whether that's with your health and wellness. It's about providing you with the tools, the resources, the information to identify where you are and for you to take ownership of what's going to be next for you.
Awesome sauce, because I honestly, all these questions, and I tell my guests all the time that all of these questions here are just questions that low-key help me. But I have been in a toxic relationship, and I did not know that I shouldn't have been in it until I shouldn't have been in it. Does that make sense?
Yes,
and so it's like you And it's not, I think it's when, because I would generally say I didn't love myself then. And when you become a child of God, in my opinion, you begin to notice your worth more. And so that's why I asked, because sometimes I know we get ourselves stuck in these situations that, with someone who doesn't love you because you don't love yourself, and or you don't feel like you're loved. And so that initial ideation can come from anywhere. But one of the things that I always realized that was so important was to make sure that everybody knew that they were loved, whether it's by me, or by God and Jesus, who sacrificed his self for them, that they are loved. And initially, you're thinking, oh, well, yeah, everyone says that. But no, it's like it's the truth. Like, no one's going to be out here sacrificing their son if they didn't love you.
Yeah.
And so it's just so nice to know that there are programs like this and summits like this that enable and help women understand their true worth and take ownership of who they really are and who they really can be in the future.
Yes. And that love thing with women goes again straight back to the structure of the traditional family.
Yeah.
The absence of the father and the validation of the father, the support of the father. I actually run a nonprofit transition mentorship program. And prior to COVID, we held a daddy-daughter dance. And it was always emotional to see that as the fathers affirmed their daughters, as they spoke the words of affirmation that we prepared, that the fathers would cry.
Oh,
The
wow.
fathers would literally cry as they affirmed their daughters, and their daughters would become so emotional in that moment to hear their fathers say how valuable they are, how much they mean to them, that they love them, because men don't often feel comfortable in that emotional state. And so a lot of us who grew up in single parent homes, we didn't get the opportunity to be validated by our fathers. Or if we grew up in a toxic home environment where our father wasn't loving towards our mother, who didn't handle conflict well, we got the lesson that it was okay to be in an abusive relationship. We got messages from society that if we're single at a certain age, something is wrong with us. And so in that desperation, we give up our value, we give up our self-esteem, all for the love of a man who is not satisfying us. So we're not happy. It's deep. It's like, this some deep stuff.
Yeah, it is. And I love deep stuff on the podcast, but that's not the point. But no, it is. And it's definitely conversations that must be had, especially when it comes to women empowerment and finding out what is the root of you feeling like you're not enough. Yeah. And so I definitely feel like that is so crucial. I'm thinking of crucial topics, leading to our last question is really, if or when you have the opportunity to tell a child of God or someone who doesn't know God but wants to get to know them, what is one piece of advice that you would give them or that you would tell them helped you along your journey as a child of God?
Well, I would definitely share with them. When I was a little girl, I went to church every Sunday morning and afternoon. I went to church Wednesday prayer meeting. I went Saturday visitation, Friday youth group. So every time the church doors open, I was actually in church. I knew the Bible. I could repeat Bible verses. Every Sunday school, you had to learn all these Bible verses. And so I knew all about God, who God was. I passed my religion exams without having to study because I was in a fundamental Baptist church and they taught fire and brimstone and all these messages. And so I really knew who God was, right? And then my life just went into a tailspin. And I can tell you that one of the scriptures that has helped me is actually John 15:16. And it says that you did not choose me, but I chose you and ordained you that you should go forth and bring fruit and that fruit should remain. That scripture speaks to me a lot because it says to me that God chose me to be here. He chose every person that's on earth today was chosen to be here. And the fact that you're chosen means that you're loved. And he loves us regardless of the state that we're in. And, as I shared my story about going to church, I wanted you to understand just how much knowledge of Christ I had. And in order for me to live a life that was full of sin meant that I had to turn God off. I had to turn off God, but not only did I turn God off, I was angry at God for quite a long period of time, because if God loved me, why would he let my primary nurturer die when I was 13? Why would he allow me to have so many troubled experiences as a teen, where I felt that I was broken and I needed to escape my home, and I got married so that I was not being controlled anymore in a home environment that didn't nurture me or support me or build my self-esteem or my self-value. And I ended up getting married to a man who, I mean, today he in the church preaching and he bringing souls to Christ. But back then, you know, we had a very toxic relationship, and domestic abuse was every Sunday we would have fights. And so why would God allow all of that to happen to me if he truly loved me? And I can tell you that when I was married the first time, I remember wanting to tap out on life. And I said, this isn't worth it. And so I vividly remember, you know, a Saturday afternoon, I'd cleaned the house, top to bottom. The last room I'd cleaned was the bathroom. And I remember walking out of the bathroom as if I was a robot into the kitchen, where I opened the white refrigerator and I took out that bottle of orange juice. I remember walking back down the hall, going back in my bathroom. I remember looking at the mirror on the medicine cabinet, and I remember saying to myself that you are such a disappointment. And I remember opening that medicine cabinet and taking out a bottle of tablets. And with that orange juice and that bottle of tablets, I remember sitting down in front of my toilet. And as I sat in the front of my toilet, I said to myself, you and this toilet just alike. All y'all do is receive waste. And as I sat there thinking about the waste that my life was, I just happened to look up. And coming out of the light fixture were these rays. And in that exact moment, I remembered one scripture, and everybody uses the scripture so lightly, but I remember Jeremiah 29:11. And I remembered that God had a plan for my life, regardless of my circumstances. And as I sat there remembering that, it took me back to my 8-year-old self, sitting outside my grandmother's house, sneaking outside at 11 o'clock at night to look at the stars. And as I looked at the stars at 8 years old, I knew that I wanted to make a difference in the world and be a light for other people. Somehow I made the decision not to take my life that day. I got up off my bathroom floor, determined to make a better way of life for me and my 2 kids at that time. A few days later, I was pushing my daughter out of a window, followed by my son, and then I squeezed myself out of a window because we were locked inside a house. And I left that marital home and I never went back. And as I sat remembering that God had a plan for me, I said to myself, 1, that my voice has value. 2, that my life has a purpose. And 3, that regardless of every bad circumstance, every bad decision, every broken moment that I have had, that God would help to restore me. And that the very brokenness that I had built my life with would be the foundation upon which I would build my biggest, greatest future. So as I share my story with other women, and as I share my story with other people, I share that there is nothing that you've done. There's nowhere that you've been. There's no decision that you've made that can keep you away from the love of God. God's grace kept me in every bad decision that I make. I am only here today because of God's grace. And his grace isn't just for me. His grace is for every single person. And all you have to do is try him. Because once you get the sweetness of what he can provide, your life will never be the same. What do you have to lose?
I literally was tearing up the whole time, but I was like, keep it together, keep it together, keep it together. You got this, you got this. It's only like, and this is like the deeper you went into it, I just was like, Lord, if I break down on this podcast right now, I don't know what will happen. But first of all, thank you. Thank you so much for being so vulnerable. I don't think you realize how much people appreciate vulnerability, authenticity, and just you talking about you and just the truthfulness of the journey. People don't usually talk about those type of things. They don't want anybody to know that they've been at a rough patch before, during, or like you said, you were involved in church after they were saved, or were involved in church, or knew every scripture. And so it means so much to them listening, but to me as well. I have never gotten to that point where I am vulnerable enough to talk about like all of my past trauma, but let me just tell you, I am one step closer. I'm definitely one step closer to talking about it, because that honestly was so moving. Like my heart just started beating super quickly. I was just like, oh I am so kooky. But no, on like, let me just tell you, that is such a word. That is such a word. And it's, you are just so inspiring. So inspiring. I hate to have to end the podcast now. I want to keep like going, but anyway. So that is it, guys. That was the last question. And I know everyone who's listening literally is probably tearing up and crying right now. But I will give the floor to Mistress Duquesa to tell us more about how we can find her, what we can find her on, what her links are, what her Instagram is, everything, so that we can go and get this story and even be coached by her.
Yes. And so right before I give you that information, Janika, I want to pull you out the valley, because I want you to know that even though I had so many broken experiences, today I get to live in the truest, most genuine, happiest way possible. I get to use all of those experiences to help me build a business. I'm married. As you know, I'm a grandmother. I get to help other women. I'm happy. So those experiences are the foundation upon which I built my happiness. And I want every person, whether you are male or female, to know that that can also happen for you. Your experiences, even though they were designed to break you, can actually help to make you. So how do you find me? Everything Duquesa Dean. If you want my website, it's Duquesa Dean. Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, everything is literally my name. Just Google it and everything about me comes up, and I'd be happy to connect with you. Just go ahead and connect with me for that free consultation. And I hope to see you at the upcoming summit as well.
Thank you so much, not only for sharing your story, but being a guest on the podcast. Guys and gals, don't forget to remain faithful, to know that you are loved as a child of God. Have a great day. I'll see you guys later.